Bonelab is probably the most hyped VR game that's ever existed. It made $1 million in less than an hour after it launched. Huge VR YouTubers like Thrillseeker made tons of videos hyping up this game. Boneworks was amazing for most people who played it, without dying of motion sickness that is. So the promise of having not just Boneworks with built-in mod support, but Boneworks on standalone Quest? Of course that was going to be insane, how could it not? It's been just about 6 months and, well, Bonelab hasn't necessarily lived up to the hype that everyone was expecting. This game was supposed to be the future of VR, so what happened? There are really 3 main reasons I think it fell flat for many people. First off, people were not prepared for how intense it was to play without getting sick, especially on Quest when the frame rate drops a lot. Tons of complaints immediately were about this fact. I can't blame them as well, because when I got my first Windows Mixed Reality headset, Boneworks took me about my entire 2-week Christmas break playing every day before I stopped getting headaches and nausea. Secondly, for many people the amount of content included was not enough to keep them engaged for long periods of time. The campaign left much to be desired, and was mostly a tutorial to playing the game with mods. Many people were disappointed by its less engaging story, especially those who enjoyed Boneworks, and of course the modding community took a while to produce much good content. I remember for the first month of the game, there weren't any custom NPCs or vehicles, and very few maps. I personally had a lot of fun for the first 2 weeks, and played it probably 3 hours too much every single day. But it did grow stale for me after those first 2 weeks. It's clear that Stress Level Zero was not trying to make a game per se, as much as trying to make an engine for a more physicalized VR experience. They made the focus of their game modding, kinda like with Gmod, but there's one reason Gmod got so fucking big: multiplayer. All the custom servers and experiences made it a community-based game. You could join a random server and play a new game mode with strangers and meet the best friends of your life all online. The third reason Bonelab fell flat is the biggest one. With no multiplayer at all, there were no servers to meet people and f*** around on, and you couldn't even have a gunfight with your friends. Bonelab was supported by the community with all the mods, yes, but it was not a community game. Bonelab was extremely lonely. I like single player games a ton, but nothing captures me like gaming with other people. I'm pretty sure most of us feel this way. Killing nullbodies, furries, and Andrew Tate are only so fun the first few times you do it when there's nobody else around to make it interesting. I do think Bonelab was overhyped. People were expecting this game to come out of the gate and be the next Minecraft or Halo, but for VR. Bonelab didn't release in the perfect state that everyone was expecting, and many people decided to leave it. Time has passed though, and really the 2 biggest issues with it are almost gone completely. I'll talk about motion sickness and how to beat it in another video, but as of now, there are not only almost 4,000 mods on the mod.io page. After 6 months, the fully featured multiplayer mod, Bonelab Fusion, has released. If you look back at the videos hyping up the game, many of them do mention multiplayer. Although it was not included by the developers, we all knew it was just a matter of time before some god of modding added it in themselves. It would take some time, but this absolute Chad, Lakatraz, as he's known in the community, has finally done something insane. And you know what? Call him Chadwick Bone Jesus, because this is his second coming. This man not only worked on Boneworks multiplayer mod back in the day, but he also single-handedly programmed this new mod for Bonelab. After 6 months, Lakatraz Chadwick Bone Jesus himself released the Fusion mod for Bonelab. And the Fusion mod is the most fun I have had, not just in VR, but in gaming for the past few years. Before we get into the multiplayer, I want to mention the insane amount of mods available right now. Installed right now, I have lightsabers, a 2,000-foot tall radio tower that I can skydive off of, a desert eagle that can shoot 300 rounds per second, a YouTuber rat that has a dirty mouth, a hover bike named after something Joe Biden would say, Joe Biden, guns from Apex Legends, vehicles from Halo, a Japanese mountain to have a night drive on, C4 explosive, indestructible babies, Karens, f***ing McDonald's, haunted 7-Eleven, drones you can fly, NPCs you can A-train status, and so many more things. There's so much to do here. I've been playing this game again non-stop for the past 4 weeks. Even in single player, it has absolutely destroyed my free time again. Adding on the multiplayer aspect of it takes it to a whole nother level. Fusion came out just a few days ago, so the entire implications of it are not yet even realized. The future of Bonelab is brighter than it's ever been. Going into the game and playing deathmatch as an anime girl while fighting a giant weed man and Walter White is incredible. It's insanely fun to fly a hover bike to another planet while your friend is sitting roped to you in an inner tube. Nowhere else can you get this kind of experience. You get the fun of multiplayer shooters like COD, the fun of sandbox games like Gmod, and the interaction of VR chat all in one. I had some of the most fun in my life f***ing around with a shotgun in a 7-Eleven and crashing a fully functional helicopter into a building. Just talking to other people makes it 100 times better. A couple nights ago, this guy I met online and I dressed up as the light avatar from Bonelab and started a blood cult dedicated to Bonelab's impeccable jiggle physics. God damn! The possibilities here are truly endless and will only continue to grow in the future. It's still not perfect, of course. Fusion has one massive downside that is holding Bonelab back from an exponential explosion of popularity. As of right now, it is only on PC VR. I'm sure this is a huge kick in the pants to whomever has it only on Quest. The majority of players have the standalone Quest version, so most people can't do multiplayer right now. It is being worked on for the Quest, but as of right now they're kind of fucked. It really sucks for them, but at the same time, it allows the dev to polish the Quest version and give it all the features it deserves. Right now, we can watch what Fusion does to the PC VR space and see how it'll go once it's finally available on mainstream devices. There are some other things with Fusion I'd like worked on too, but it is really new. I know it'll all come with time. Bonelab may have had a rougher start than expected by most of us, but I still genuinely believe it can become the game everyone was hyping up. With my insane experiences in multiplayer and with the insane amount of dedication the community has to this game, it is more than likely it will take over VR as we know it and possibly push it out to more people. Stress Level Zero, Lakatraz, and all other modders of this game, thank you for what you're doing. You will go down in the history books as pioneers of VR interaction.